Hello, and welcome to another Doctor Who video. This one, I'm not filming because I'm kind of down to the wire on getting the initial one out, but I also want to get this one out because I said it in the video. So it's going to happen, but I'm not actually filming it, just talking in my closet, and I probably won't edit this. But I want to go through each of the episodes of Season 1 of Doctor Who, and then just talk about them each and be like, yo, this is good, this is not good. So let's start off with the first episode called Rose. Rose wakes up and she goes to work, and then at work she gets attacked by mannequins, but then the doctor comes in and saves her but blows up her job. And so for kind of the rest of the episode, she's running around trying to figure out who the doctor is, occasionally bumping into him, and then at the end helping to prevent an alien invasion. I really like this episode. Like I said in the video, Rose is the main character of this season, so this sets up really well. And I think it sets up not just who the Doctor is, but also like the excitement of the series. We don't get a lot of the Doctor in this episode. It's a lot of build-up, which I think if you're just waiting for the TARDIS and for the sonic screwdriver and for all the stuff that you know comes with Doctor Who, it can maybe be a bit of a slog. But I think it really builds it up in a way that's engaging and also emphasizes Rose as the focus. Episode 2 is The End of the World. This is the episode where we get all the cool aliens coming to watch the world explode. Obviously, all the alien designs are really fun. This show doesn't always have the best of the budget. It was just a season 1, so it's kind of goofy looking, but I like the goofy side. The sillier an alien design, probably the more I'll like the episode. And this is just chock full of alien designs. It also builds up the sense of loss that is going to be throughout the season, with Rose being sad that the world will inevitably end, and the Doctor eventually revealing that he is the last of the Time Lords. I really like how they spread that out and make that the thematic core of what plot-wise is kind of a weak episode. Like, what's going on in the episode really doesn't matter. The villain is not that interesting, but it's that theme that kind of carries it throughout. Plus, we just get some good moments with Rose. I really like this scene where she's talking to the technician or plumber or whatever, really just setting up that she is a person who cares about, like, ordinary people. Episode 3 is The Unquiet Dead, kind of a forgettable episode. They go back in time, Charles Dickens is there, and there are some aliens who can possess bodies and kind of appear as ghosts, but are really refugees from the Time War and trying to take over the world. But they're, of course, telling the Doctor that they're just trying to get home. It's a fun enough episode. It kind of builds on the themes of and the strong suits of The End of the World, but not that interesting overall. Kind of one of the weaker periods of time that they visit. Just not a lot of interesting stuff going on. Episode 4, Aliens of London, the two-parter with World War III. I'm not crazy about the Slitheen. They're kind of annoying. They're a little goofy, which I enjoy, but mostly just annoying. This has a lot of Russell T Davies trying to do political satire, but I don't think he's able to really thread the needle between saying what he wants to say and actually making it funny. Most of the jokes in this kind of just come off as a little half-baked. And the pacing's just really off in The Aliens of London. We do get a really sweet scene where the Doctor and Rose are up on a roof talking, and it kind of plays out the reason I like the domestic stuff in this season. And World War III is better than Aliens of London because you get more action, you get some Mickey doing stuff, but overall not a big fan of either of these episodes. I think they kind of drag down this season as a whole. Then episode 6, we have Dalek, where they go to a compound underneath, I think it's Utah somewhere. Anyway, they find that there's this guy who collects a bunch of alien memorabilia and actual aliens. One of the aliens he has is the Dalek. They don't know what it is, but the Doctor sure does, because the Doctor is, hates the Daleks. Just a great way to introduce this villain. If this was the only time we got the Daleks in the revival, I would be happy, because it understands their psychology and the psychology of the Doctor. They are a hateful race of people who just want to destroy everything that is not Dalek, and when they are succeeding in this, the Doctor can risk turning into what they are. Really great. Love how Rose is able to bring the Doctor down, how we are able to see the Doctor who did fight in the Time War in this. It's a really good episode, kind of enclosed, which just makes it more terrifying when the Dalek does run around. And the Daleks they're trash cans with plungers. They are so silly. But I think this episode does an amazing thing and actually kind of makes them intimidating. Then we have episode 7, The Long Game, the one with Simon Pegg, the one with the Mighty Jaggerfrass, the one that's just a whole lot of nothing. Like I said in the video, it kind of has some plot relevance for later on in the season. And it has this one side character who they picked up in Dalek. Overall, though, I'm just not crazy about this episode. I think it's pretty boring, poorly paced, and just a whole lot of nothing happens. Then we get Father's Day. This is one I didn't like as a kid. I was kind of bored by, but it's one of my favorites now. It really serves as just a great standalone time travel story as Rose goes back to be with her father in his dying moments and accidentally prevents his death. And everything about this episode almost works, except for the Monster of the Week, which are these kind of like Time Reaper things that come to fix the paradox by just destroying everything. They look like they're from a Stephen King TV adaptation from the 90s, and just cool concept. Visually, kind of, they take away from that concept, though. But everything else in this episode really works. It gives Billie Piper and the actor playing her father a lot of emotional stakes to work with, which is great. And the Doctor has this great little moment with these two side characters where he kind of talks about how awesome an ordinary life can be. And it really does illustrate that even when this Doctor gets frustrated and starts yelling about how dumb humans are, he really does care about humanity. Then we have The Empty Child and The Doctor Dances, another two-parter. Love these episodes. The Empty Child is a freaky little thing with a great supporting cast in a cool location and time period. Plus, it introduces Captain Jack. But The Doctor Dances is really what ties it as a fantastic part of the season because it's able to subvert the series of loss that we had, especially after Father's Day, which had the biggest loss in the show so far, or at least the biggest loss in terms of emotion so far. It's able to subvert that and kind of brings the tone of the season up a bit. Then we have Boomtown. It's fine. I think the potential of the episode, the Doctor having to be with someone who he's condemning to death, is more interesting than the actual execution. The Slovene humor just doesn't work for me, and everything with Mickey and Rose kind of drags down because there's a lot you could do with those characters, like within this situation, talking about what's going on and using that to get to their character drama. But no, they just kind of go straight into the character drama, and it's not that interesting. It's fine. It's not as bad as Aliens in London or World War III or even The Long Game. It's just fine. Then you have Bad Wolf, which starts off kind of rough. I just don't think it's paced that well. But once the Doctor gets out of the game, for those of you who haven't seen the thing, it's about they all get teleported into futuristic versions of British games, but in these they get killed if they, mess up. So like the Doctor's in Big Brother, and if you get evicted from the house, you get vaporized. Anyway, once the Doctor escapes and then once Jack escapes, the episode takes a real turn, and I think really picks up in its second half. And then finally, the parting of ways. The Doctor and Jack and Rose and everyone have to kind of stall off this invasion of the Daleks in the future, and the Doctor sends Rose back into the past because he's afraid that he's not going to succeed and he doesn't want her to die. Overall, love everything about this episode. I love that it returns Rose to the starting point and that she has to make a sacrifice to be able to get back to the future, really showing how much the Doctor and just her time with the Doctor has meant to her. Obviously, the Doctor's sacrifice and how he stands up to the Daleks is great. Christopher Eccleston really knows how to play this type of drama. Christopher Eccleston took on this role as the Doctor because he wanted to appeal more to kids. He wanted to try a bit more of a lighter character. But it is really those darker times when he really stands out as the Doctor. And overall, it's just the relationship between Rose and the Doctor that sells the stakes of this and the scale of it. Because what Rose ends up doing is pretty intense, probably the biggest on-scale thing that a companion has done to themselves up until the point where we get to Clara jumping into the Doctor's time stream. Just a great series finale for Eccleston, who of course left the show. Part of the reason I like that Eccleston only gets one season, even though I like Eccleston and I wish he had gotten more, was I like that we get introduced to the idea of regeneration in this way, and that like we get one season, we learn everything about the Doctor, including regeneration, and then he regenerates into Tennant. It's a really good launching point. So those are the episodes of season 1. I know that on HBO Max, it also has the first Tennant episode in season 1, but on the DVDs, it doesn't. And it just made more sense to bump the Christmas special in with all the other Tennant ones. So I'll be back for season 2. Up until then, I hope y'all have a very, very good holidays and a good new year.